Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Sorry about that. I was told that four of us could come on here at once.
That's all good. I kept trying. I was like,
I know, but that's important that you keep on trying, Brandon. And actually, we have a bunch of your fans downstairs in the gallery.
oh no.
So, yeah, no, and I was just saying, no matter how many times we tell people you're not coming here, they still show up, but that's okay. And they love your work, and your work's so amazing.
Thank you.
Now, I know that when you were here the last time when we did that impromptu photo shoot with Andrew Stewart and Brian Bowen Smith and Stephen Finasco, that was one of the coolest days I had because it felt a little bit normal.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like kind of like the only social thing I'd done lately, and you guys were all the synergy was just so beautiful. And I asked you if you listen to music when you paint,
Hmm.
and I was surprised by your answer, which is that you really don't, right?
Not so much. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll just have on something random and just let it play. But most of the time, I either just have my door open to my studio and I listen to the sounds of birds and bees and bugs and stuff.
Okay.
And then sometimes I listen to like lectures and things like that. I have a way of working where if there's somebody teaching me something in an audio sense, it's fun to paint and sort of passively absorb uh, the material. I was
Hmm.
I did well in school, but you'd never know it from the way that I knew how to pay attention. If I was looking at the teacher and like paying attention to the lesson, I wouldn't absorb it. But if I was drawing, it all it was all getting in there, and I would get A's on all my tests. So it's like passive absorption.
So that's a visual thing. You're visual. So as long as you're looking at something, it's more
Yeah,
intense in your brain.
yeah,
Hmm.
but me particularly drawing, that's how I
Yeah.
learned best.
Well, you're really, really good. So do you start most of your paintings with the drawing first?
No, actually, most of them start with no idea whatsoever, and I just start moving my hand, and
That is very cool.
things start to emerge. It sort of depends on uh, the day. Sometimes I'll have a very clear source of inspiration, like a photograph taken um, of a friend or a loved one, and I'm going to attempt to like recreate it in watercolor. And so that's a little bit more methodical, and I'll rely on some of my technique that I did learn in school. But for the most part, I just go to a blank canvas or a blank sheet of paper and just start and see what happens.
What do you prefer painting to drawing? Or what like do you prefer oils to watercolor?
No, I kind of love it all. I don't. I've never really.
It's just what's a mood thing.
It's a mood thing. Yeah, yeah. I love like drawing, like proper drawing. I also love the challenge of watercolor, and then I also really love diving into abstract stuff with nothing really clear in my mind and just working with paint until something beautiful emerges. It's a little bit
So
like digging a hole until you find light, you know?
yeah. Now, do you find it easier to draw if the or paint if the subject matter is in front of you or from your mind?
Usually from my mind. I'll even do figurative stuff from my mind occasionally. But it is really fun to draw your friends and or a loved one when they're like I'm gonna sit here and
Yeah.
sit still 20 minutes, and then you talk to them and watch people like trying to sit still. You know?
Right. That's hard to do. Now, do you have a favorite painter that you like to collect?
um, that's a good question. I don't really have one person that I obsess over as far as like the work that I collect. There are so many painters and photographers that have inspired me over the years. Um, I'm a really big fan of Stephen Vanesco's work.
Oh,
Just looking at it again, story. He's so good, and what an incredible way to look at Los Angeles too, from like up above. So much of the time, like I grew up here, and so much of the time when we're in LA, we can get kind of lost in the weeds of traffic and the sort of serpentine streets and the hills and everything, and you can kind of lose perspective. And so it was really cool that he pulled back up in the helicopter and looked
mhm.
down on it, and you can really see how beautiful of a place this is that we live. I also, I have adored Brian Bowen-Smith's work for decades. There's a reason why we asked him to come on tour with us. He was the first photographer that we ever asked to come on tour with us. And he went around the world with us a couple of times. So I not only love him, but I love his work as well. As far as painters and stuff are concerned, I've always been a huge fan of Aubrey Beardsley, and I suppose he's more of like a drawer, though. You know, I'm not sure if he's working in paint. It was more ink. So I have pieces of his here.
Okay, we're going on a tour with Brandon Boyd. Yay!
This is one of my favorite works of art, like ever actually have it tattooed on me. This is called Peacock Skirt. Can you see it?
I can, and it looks very cool.
Yeah.
I wish I could see it better, though. That is awesome. That's a drawing.
It's a drawing, yeah. This is a woodblock print that I found at like a secondhand thrift store.
You're kidding. It looks very 1920s.
He did that at the turn of the century. Yeah, right around that time. And then this I have that was from the same place. They were both just kind of lost in a bin, and I really lucked out. This one is from the illustrated Salome as well. He did an illustrated Salome for Oscar Wilde. And this one.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, so cool. Can you see it?
Yeah, I love it. You found both of these at a thrift shop?
Yeah, like in like a poster bin type of a thing.
Oh my God.
I remember coming across and being like, these should
I love those stories.
I'll take them.
Those are the best. I have a few of those stories of the great thrift shop buys. Now, I heard also that you know what I was going to say before I forget, and I hope this happens. You and Stefan should do a trade.
Yeah.
That would be good, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of times how people collect each other's favorite art. So now I heard from a little birdie that you have some new music coming out.
Yeah, I finished a solo record, maybe like 4 weeks ago. And I've just been kind of finalizing the album artwork, even though nobody buys records anymore. That part is still important. It's like, so just finishing that. And then I'm just going to be, trying to do my due diligence with potential label partners. So I'm an independent artist. Incubus is also independent. We've been indie for quite a long time now. Better fit for us as a band, but also it's a better fit for me individually at the moment. But it would be nice to have some label partners in some capacity to help to get it to as many ears as possible. So I could put it out today, but I'm probably...
Well, you just did. You just put it out to 600 people right now, so that's a good start. That ain't too shabby. No, that's good. Now, is that a little scary being solo, or do you feel freed by it, or do you prefer it? Because I know sometimes some people love being in a band, but I don't know. And then some people like being solo and ditching the band. So do you feel a little nervous about that, or are you excited?
I'm excited about it. My preference is to be in a band, and I love my band. We love each other. We've been a band. We have actually have kind of more fun now, I think, than we've ever had. Everybody has their whistles out.
Yeah.
And we still get to just meet in the band room and just thrash and go on tour and play music for people. It's honestly the coolest job in the world. When I make solo records, this will be my third solo record. When I make solo records, it's not because like I'm ditching you guys or anything like that. It's more like everybody wants to stop for a moment, and I have a hard time stopping.
Well, you need to grow. It's probably sometimes you need to grow from out of different situations. You need to kind of just do your own growth, probably. Yeah. Now, are you one of those kind of bands that fought all the time?
No. We've definitely had our moments here and there, but for the most part, we are still very much in love with each other.
Oh, I love that.
We're really lucky for so many reasons. I mean, we've been so fortunate over the years with our experience in music and making art and music together. But the longer we're a band, the more it occurs to us. We've talked about this before, that we have had a pretty unique experience in being a band, because we know so many bands that hate each other.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked. I'm like, are you one of those guys? Because you hear so many horror stories.
Yeah. And then we've had our, like I said, we've had our moments where we get super pissed at each other and we'll even, you know, walk away from each other for brief moments of time, but it's always done with like a loving acceptance and a loving intention involved. It's like, I'm really mad at you right now. I'm going to go into the corner for an hour and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to hug you and it's going to be okay. So we're like we're a family. We're not like a family.
Yeah, you can see that, you can hear that in your music. You know, you can hear the love in your music. So no, I mean, we have been so honored to have you hanging at the Leica Gallery LA, and your work is incredible. And for those of you who can come into the gallery, we are open every day. Just come and see the work. Everything's for sale. It's the best time in the world to collect now that people have been spending more time at home and didn't really do a lot last year, so you can afford art now. Right? Now's the time. Yeah. So if I guess I can open up to a few questions before we, unless there's anything else you'd like to say or anything you'd like to talk about, we can have some people ask some questions.
Sure. I just wanted to say thank you for letting me, a painter, hang work in a photography gallery. It was really fun to be alongside Stefan and Brian and be in your beautiful gallery. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. I love your work. Big, huge fan. And I'm just going to say everyone's wishing you luck and how much they love you, the usual. And I guess if no one has any questions, we're going to say thank you for being here today. Don't be a stranger. I do have one last question. Do you think you'll ever get that collaboration with Brian going eventually? With a mixed media piece, like painting, photography?
It's right here.
What?
Show it to you, but I'm not going to because it's like 3/4 of the way finished.
Oh.
But if Brian's listening, Brian, I'm almost done, and I'll show it to you.
Oh, I'm so happy. Do I get to see it eventually soon, I hope?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Brian Bowen-Smith. Thank you for everyone who listened. Thank you, Leica. And again, we're here. Come see the show. Have a beautiful and blessed weekend, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Cool. Sounds good, right? I mean, I can.
Little something. I don't know.